And welcome, YouTube and people everywhere, to another deck profile. This time on my 2011 format tournament, Junk Doppel Synchro deck. We had a 2011 tournament this past weekend for our Time Wizard tournament, which I ended up winning. It was a little bit of a smaller tournament, so honestly not that impressive. Still, first place is a first place. And 2011 was a really fun format. We had the early on 2011 with Legendary Six Samurais, where Gateway was at 3 for a little bit before they kind of started toning down on some of the stuff for 6 Sams. And then we had the Tengu Clan format that ran a bit roughshod up until September, which for this tournament we were using the September 2011 ban list to go for our tournament rules. And so at this point, the first few Xyz monsters had come out. So you had the Utopia, Gachi, and I'm trying to remember what the other one was in that structured deck. But I know Utopia and Gachi were two of the ones that were used. And then Generation Force is the latest set to come out. And so you have your Leviair and your Leviathan Dragons from that set as well. Maybe Giga Brilliant also came out there. I'm not entirely sure for that one. But for myself, this is still kind of the last gasp, the kind of last run and hurrah for Synchro Monsters before we kind of start fully getting into a full Xyz era. And by that, and because at this point, they've started to limit a lot of the tuners and the strategies that really made Synchro spam force to reckon with. But this is my Junk Doppel deck. Like I said, it came in first place at this past tournament, which was awesome. Any chance I get to play Junk Doppel, I would take it. Junk Warrior, Junk Synchron, representing the 5Ds era, representing the first real playable protagonist deck. Because while heroes were playable, we were playing a lot of stuff that Jayden hadn't played at that point. Yugi wouldn't get a lot of the legacy support until I want to say we got into the Zexal era, maybe even the Arc 5 era, and that's the same with some of the other legacy characters. And heroes, we had a few outings here and there, but they never really felt fusion oriented. They always felt like they were a side piece or a kind of an engine for other decks to use. And so even Hero Beat wasn't really relying on any of the fusions or recognizable monsters that Jayden used. So Yusei being the first major protagonist to have a playable deck, even if it used some other monsters, I was like, you know what, we're gonna take this. And the main reason why I made this deck. But we're gonna do a quick deck profile. As an FYI, there's gonna be a few empty card sleeves here because I did have to borrow a couple of cards for the tournament because I could not find some of these cards. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started here. The two main stars of the deck here, or two of the main stars, Junk Synchron. There's supposed to be 3, but I could not find the third one, so I just said, F it, we're going to go with 2 to kind of, and hope for the best. There were moments where I was like, man, I need a third Junk Synchron to kind of bring back some of my monsters, but regardless, 2 Junk Synchron. Junk Synchron's effect, when it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 2 or lower monster from your graveyard, but its effects are negated. So it's a really awesome way to kind of bring back some of your lower level monsters, and it combos well in conjunction with Doppel Warrior, which we'll see that later on. But being able to bring back any one of the level 1 tuners that you may have already used, like a Glow Bulb or a Spore, and then just kind of start making your plays. A lot of the kind of opening combo plays that I always try to go with Junk Synchron is, sending one of my level 2 monsters out to the graveyard, having Doppel Warrior in hand, and then just bringing out, or even my level 1 tuner, bring out Junk Synchron, special summon the level 1 tuner, special Doppel Warrior, Synchro into Librarian, get the 2 tokens, and then Synchro with the Formula Synchron to draw 1 from that, and then 1 from Librarian. And then during your opponent's turn, you can Black Rose because of Formula Synchron's effect, or a bunch of other stuff. But Junk Synchron, honestly, pretty good. And it also kind of works well with, doesn't work well. It goes with a lot of the synchros that we play in here. You know, easy access to a bunch of our level 5s, Librarian, Pastor, Frozen Fitzgerald. You'll see that one when we go over the extra deck. But honestly, one of the starters we want to get, and with 4 Rotas in this deck to get him out, you know, you're never without seeing him in there. And then for the next one, we have our other Synchron that we played, Quick Draw Synchron. I know Quick Draw in itself, Quick Draw Dandy Warrior is a very, very powerful deck. Like, genuinely, it is probably one of the better decks for 2011 format. But I only play the one because with Junk Warrior, we're able to go into kind of the main junk monsters that we want to go into, which is Junk Destroyer and Junk Archer. But with Quick Draw, it gives us access to Drill Warrior. And Drill Warrior is a very phenomenal card. By discarding a card, you can banish it, and then during your next standby phase, it special summons itself back onto the field, and then you add 1 monster card. So it's a great way to kind of recycle monsters. And Quick Draw itself, you know, in conjunction, you can go into Junk Archer or Junk Destroyer and get a lot of the effects off. It's a great tool to kind of go off and get a lot of your synchro plays going. Its restriction being that it can only go into monsters that list a Synchron as its tuner. So it does lock you out of some of your, or not some, but a good chunk of your other monsters. But the warrior monsters that have the Synchrons as their tuner materials that we run in here are phenomenal. And so having it at hand and searching it, you can never go wrong. So those are our Synchrons. We'll run through 3 Tengu, Reborn Tengus. Just a great piece to go synchro summoning with. Resets itself after you use it, the material. And it was, you know, the other half of Tengu, or the first half of Tengu Plant. You know, it's still at 3 at this point. It's still very, very good. You know, it's a free body, so even if your hand isn't opening the most ideal to kind of get your synchro spam going, at least you have some form of protection with Reborn Tengu to kind of hold off in a little bit. And you know, with Tengu, like, you have so many synchro plays that you can do. So like, you summon out Junk Synchron, bring out a level 1 tuner with like a Reborn Tengu that was brought out on your field the prior turn, or you know, your opponent didn't really do much of anything, so they just set and passed to you. So you can go Tengu level 1 into Librarian, bring out another Tengu, and then go into Junk Archer with Junk Synchron, draw 1, banish the monster that they have on there, get another Reborn Tengu, and then if the level 1 that you had in your graveyard was, you know, a glow up bulb or anything like that, you know, your plays can just continue on. And so Reborn Tengu is a pretty great extender at this point in Yu-Gi-Oh! A very, very powerful card. And, you know, it's always good to be able to run a body that can replace itself really easily. The one Debris Dragon, Debris Dragon, still really good. Got limited here at this point. Understandable why. When it's summoned, special summon monster with 500 or less attack. Yeah. But its effects are negated, and you can't use this for the synchro except for the synchro summon of a dragon type monster, and the other monster cannot be level 4. Most of the time when you're bringing out Debris Dragon, you're going to be bringing out Dandelion to go into Black Rose to blow up the field. Or you summon out Debris Dragon, bring out Dandelion, special summon Doppel Warrior, go into a Trishula play, and then you have 4 tokens to kind of mess around with that. So, you know, you got defenses, a bunch of other stuff. Awesome card, and pretty good defense. So the absolute worst scenario, you got to put it on defense. It's got that 2k defense, but Debris Dragon, always a great card to have. And then kind of our plant synchro lineup that we have here. Just kind of grab one of the empty slots here. Now we add our plant monsters. This is supposed to be Glow Up Bulb. Thank you, Ryan, for loaning that to me. You got your Spore, your Dandelion, and your Lone Fire Blossom. Again, with these 3 being limited at this point, kind of your options are for plants are very, very slim, but these are still really powerful cards. Sending this off a Foolish Burial or Quick Draw to get the tokens, summoning out the Lone Fire to be able to go into one of these three, and then just get your plays going. Not bad. But again, because at this point the plant engine had gotten hit really hard off the ban list, it limits it. But these still work well in conjunction with the rest of the deck. And then kind of some of our miscellaneous stuff coming up here. The 1 level leader, bringing that out, reducing a monster's level by 1, special summoning it. It's on a once per turn, so you can just keep going ham with the level eater. Make some fantastic plays. Great extender. Sangan is always good, especially once you synchro summon with it. Get monster searches, all that. Our super nimble mega hamster, tech choice here. Run the one of. I wanted to, but I couldn't find a second one. But it's a really good one-up. 1800 defense, so in all likelihood, it's probably going to survive unless it's like going up against like a hero beat or something with 1900, or they manage to get out a decent-sized synchro monster on your turn or on their turn to kind of beat over it. But at the very least, once it's flip summon, its effect is you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower beast monster from your deck in face down defense position, which your target of choice is always going to be Raikou. Great spot removal at this point. Flip, mill 3, target the card in the field and destroy it. Great for fueling up your graveyard with any of your plant monsters, any of your dark monsters, anything to get your Dippery Dragon, your Junk Synchrons ready for live, or gets them ready to go live to kind of go off on your next turn. And it's a great defensive play as well. Stunning your opponents, 1-for-1 destruction is still good at this point in Yu-Gi-Oh's time. And then we're going to go over our 2 hand traps that we play here. Double Maxi. 3 clogs up your hand because a lot of players will just stop after the first special summon. Or they'll just usually stop. Not a lot of people really felt like taking on the Maxi challenge. And it's banned for a good reason. But 2 is a pretty good number, and then 2 effect failures. It can be a turn ender for sure. It's great in a Doppel mirror match. It's great against tour guide. It's good against agents. A lot of monsters that just get their effects off, negate them, and it's a level 1 tuner. And that effect. And the fact that it's a tuner does come up because it is a prime target for both Junk Synchron and Debris Dragon to be able to make certain plays happen. And like I said, Junk Synchron, bring this out, special summon Doppel Warrior, you get your 5, you get your 2, you get your plays off. So these 2 are also really great targets for Junk Synchron because you can go into your Librarian with Maxi or your Caster. Honestly, it's good. I like it. And then the start of the show, Doppel Warrior. At 3, I feel that it does clog up your hand a lot, but that's personal preference. At 2, I feel like it's also a sweet number. It's that nice spot where you're not going to see it as often as you do 3, and its effect is whenever it's used for a synchro. If you summon a monster from the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. When it's used for a synchro summon, special summon 2 Doppel tokens in attack mode, 400 attack. The only downside to this card is that the tokens have to come out in attack position. If they were able to come out in defense position like Dandelion, this card would be so much better. But the fact that if you don't have extenders to kind of get rid of the tokens out there, you have like 3 damage out there. It hurts, but it's still really good. It's also dark type, so if you need something to banish with the 1 allure that you're allowed to play here, Doppel Warrior is a prime target for that. And then of course, one of the best battle traps at this point, Gores, Empty Field. We don't play any continuous spells and traps. It's the one reason why I don't run Royal Decree or Call of the Haunted, is so that I can play Gores, and Gores isn't dead in hand when they inflict burn damage or direct damage. special summon this, then special summon a token. And then this just came off the ban list in this one. Blackluster Soldier, we have plenty of light targets in both effect failures and some of our synchro monsters. Banish light and dark and come out. So it was a deadly force here. It can be a game ender. But yeah, that is our monster lineup here for the deck. Overall, I think I had like 23 monsters. 24 monsters. So pretty beefy monster lineup, but they all pretty much synergize well with each other. They play off each other very well. For our spells, our Rhodas for our synchro or for our tuners. Triple tuning. So you add a synchron monster from your deck to your hand, and then you mill the top card of your deck. So not only fuels your graveyard, but adds your synchron monster. And genuinely, or not genuinely, most of the time whatever you mill will end up being a live target for Junk Synchron. Regular Rhoda, to search out Junk Synchron or Doppel Warrior. 1 for 1. Good for pitching cards to special summon out your level 1 tuners. Ideally, you'd want one of your plant targets, or even something to fill up your graveyard, or even, Doppel Warrior itself. Send it, special summon a level 1 monster. It's pretty good. Mind Control to not just to mess up your opponent's plays, and basically get a body for you to synchro summon off with. Dark Hole for monster removal. MST, I side decked the other one. I only played 2. I was trying to make room for 3, but at the end I decided to try out 2, 1 in main, 1 inside. Very good spell and trap card removal. Heavy, even better spell and trap card removal, except Starlight Road is popular, so Heavy can get wrecked. The one charge of the Light Brigade we're allowed to play. While searching for Raikou is nice, the main reason why we play it is so that we can mill the cards from our deck to our graveyard to get our Doppel Warrior or our Junk Synchron and our Debris Dragon plays live. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. Allure of Darkness. Draw power, banish, Junk Synchron or Doppel Warrior that you don't need to be able to kind of extend your hand size. Bullish Burial. You send Dandelion with it, or you send Glow Up Bulb with it. Your option. Really depends on what you have in hand. Monster Reborn. It's Monster Reborn. It was really good back here in this format, and I believe it would get banned like a couple months later. And then our last blank sleeve here, this is Pot of Avarice. Great for recycling your graveyard in order to get your new recycle your synchro monsters after you use them, recycle your reborn Tengus. Basically, a lot of recycling with this deck, but it's always good to get your resources. And then we only run 4 trap cards here. 1 Solemn Judgment. This needs to be 2 warnings, but I couldn't find the second warning. Trap Dust Shoot, still good for going first. And then Starlight Road. Good for any mass removal, so Black Rose Dragon, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm. Won me a couple games here during the tournament. Was able to eventually just draw into it because we were synchro summoning with Librarian for so much, or Avaricing or Luring. We were always able to get into Starlight Road and have protection from mass removal. Mass destruction removal. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go into the extra deck here now. There are some monsters here that I'm missing, so this was still an incomplete extra deck, but I think it was 2, but they were 2 very important ones. So first we have Formula Synchron, our level 2 tuner synchro monster. When it's summoned, you draw a card. During your opponent's turn, you can synchro summon with using this card as material, so you can do a lot of interruption. I believe the synchro summoning is only during the main phase. Yeah. So, but it's really good for interruptions. So when you see your opponent starting to get some plays off, you can use Formula Synchron, and you can go into Black Rose Dragon and just blow up the field and kind of get some control over it. So a lot of people kind of forget that second effect. It's a really, really good effect. uh, Junk Warrior. We're running the Junk Synchron. Why not run the Junk Warrior? Ally of Justice Catastor, really good at destroying the other Synchro monsters that aren't dark. So anything bigger, anything problematic, anything that can't be destroyed by battle. And it's not just Synchro monsters, but monsters in general. So I should reiterate that. Fantastic, especially against a particular level 8 Synchro monster. TG Hyper Librarian. Looks like the creator got hold of that. Every time you Synchro Summon, draw a card. Or not use Synchro Summon. Every time a monster is Synchro Summon, draw a card. Really good. It just got hit to 1 at this ban list. Fantastic card. Frozen Fitzgerald. So Frozen Fitzgerald is a bit of an odd card. It's definitely a tech choice for sure. Dark Tuner and Beast type non-tuner. So Raikou and Junk Synchron. When it attacks, your opponent can't activate card or effects until the end, until after it finishes its attack. So this is really good at not just cleaning up games, but whenever your opponent is trying to make for a Gore's play, until the end of the damage step. So basically, it's good at getting around a lot of the battle traps, so your Mirror Forces, your D-Prisons, Book of Moon, Enemy Controller, but also gets around Gores. And, you know, Gores is still a really good card. Let me go ahead and just reread Gores before I go too crazy. Yeah, so because Gores activates during the damage step, Frozen Fitzgerald would get around Gores, so they wouldn't be able to Gores it. So, say you're trying to push for game, you're able to attack with Frozen Fitzgerald first, they can't activate Gores, and then you can go with your finishing sequence without having to worry about like a bigger token being out on the field. So it's pretty good. And then when it's destroyed by battle, so like during your opponent's turn, and you control no monsters, you can discard 1 card, special summon it. So it recycles itself a little bit. It's pretty good. I enjoy using it. I know some people, you know, kind of look at it a bit weird, think that you can use your extra deck spot for another monster, but I really enjoyed Frozen Fitzgerald. Turbo Warrior. This card's not really supposed to be here. It's I didn't have Junk Archer, Junk Destroyer, or Orient Dragon for this tournament, and so he was just kind of a substitute for one of those cards. Bryanak, still really good. Being able to send cards to the graveyard to bounce cards back. So basically non-destruction removal. Drill Warrior won me my last match. My opponent had like Gachi and like 2 big monsters. He was down to like 600, so Drill Warrior, half the attack the game. Fantastic card, good for, you know, infinitely recycle Dandelion tokens if you have to. You know, is able to kind of get around certain cards. Really good. Black Rose Dragon, it's your giant nuclear option. You can never go wrong with it. Colossal Fighter can get really big. If it's destroyed by battle, special summon it. Double Stardust Dragon. One of these is supposed to be Junk Destroyer. But, you know, bring it out with Starlight Road, or you can bring it out hard. Fantastic card. Send itself to the graveyard to negate destruction effects, so it's good. Trishula, freaking phenomenal card. Won me one match. Was able to hit my opponent Cyber Valley, one of their light targets with DLS, and then hit the machine of your Gearfring in hand. It was clutch card, banishing 3 cards off the field. Great card. And then another tech choice that I really enjoy, Shooting Star Dragon. Basically a game closer, a negate, big attack. Like I really enjoy running it. And so we're at 14. The 15th is Orient Dragon. And yeah, for the most part, we were able to kind of have decent amount of stuff out here, decent amount of success. think I was able to bring out like nearly every synchro monster except, I'll go ahead and bring out the sexiness, our Turbo Warrior. Look at this sign synchro. Thank you. Man, I'm so sad. Somebody stole my signed Junk Archer. Alright, so that was the main deck. We're going to go ahead and go to the side deck. Fossil Dyna, we mainly play this if we are going against like another synchro spam deck. It's good for clearing out their field, stunning them a little bit until we're able to go for game. You know, weird choice because it does also stun us, but for the most part we just plan on playing it on defense, flipping it, destroying everything on our opponent's side of the field. Trap Eaters, these are only in here against Macrocosmos and, you know, any kind of Fiendish Chain or continuous trap that our opponent leaves out here. Free body out on the field, a lure target, and, you know, synchro body, always good. Geospatial Grand Mole, one of the best removals in the game at this point. Bounce back synchro monsters without trouble. Dimensional Prison, this one is kind of a last minute addition. I can't think of really too much else that I want to put into the side deck. I can find another MST, otherwise I would maybe consider running that, or running, you know, like potentially for a Cyber Dragon package, for an Infinity package, or not Infinity, but a Chimera Tech Fortress package, but I didn't know how many people would be there, and I thought Cyber Dragon would kind of... It's still a really good card to have in the side deck, but I was like, I don't know if I'll necessarily really need it, but, you know, little did I know there'd be someone playing Machinas, and that Cyber Dragon would have been really good, because that is a good matchup on there. So one of those things where, you know, in all likelihood, I'll probably end up taking it out for the next 2011 format tournament. Double Mind Crush, you play this when you're going first. That way you, whenever your opponent is adding their stuff, you can just Mind Crush it, send it to the graveyard, kind of stun on them a little bit. Chain Disappearance, play this on their tour guides, play this on their dandelions, play this on their, like, anything with less than 1,000 attack, banishes it, gets it off the field, you don't have to deal with it. Pretty fantastic card. Double Bottomless. You can main deck it, you can side deck it, up to you. I chose to run it in the side. I never sided it in, but it's good removal against some of the bigger boss monsters that are running around. An MST for more removal, especially if our opponent is playing pretty heavy back row, good for that. And then my personal tech of choice, Forbidden Lance, whenever A, you either need to get over something, or you know your opponent is playing a lot of removal, you can play Forbidden Lance to protect your monster. I know I played this, it came up when I summoned my Doppel Warrior, my friend played Chain Disappearance, I changed Forbidden Lance to protect it from getting banished. So it comes up on situations, quick play, so you need that extra bit of damage, swing for game. But yeah, that is the side deck. So overall, this deck, fantastic. 3-0 today. Won the tournament. And yeah, anytime, or not anytime, the few changes I would make to it is just being able to get the Junk Archer, Destroyer, and Orient Dragon, and run those in. Otherwise, like, I am satisfied with this list. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. Leave a like if you want to. Tell me if you like what your favorite deck to play is during 2011. I know the folks over at TCG Rewind have a giant archive of decks. Check them out. They are pretty great. Some pretty outside-the-box thinking they got there. Heck, they even have a playable Municipality deck up there. But check them out. And don't be afraid to play 2011 format. It's fun. It's great. Like, it's a really, really fun format. A lot of innovation out of it. Alright, guys. Thank y'all so much for joining me. Y'all take care.